Mailbag time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. You have questions, and you're in luck. I have answers. We will get to those here in just a few moments. It's part of our live show where you can super chat us, get to the front line, or you can use the hashtag Seahawks. And I got to tell you about a feature on this show. You may not be able to join us on our live shows and want to still support what we're doing. There is a way to still be involved here, and it's super thanks from YouTube. If you want to shout out at any time, you can super thanks us, and you can go to click the thanks icon on videos and send us whatever you want, and we'll get you on the show. We certainly appreciate you guys' support. We do this show for you guys, and, we'd love to show any appreciation. So if you want to get on the show, and you want to support the show in any way, even when we're not live, give us a super thanks. And that's an easy way to get involved. Kyle with a $5 super chat writes in, what do you think of DTR from UCLA and or Max Duggan from TCU in the 6th or 7th to back up Geno? If we sign Geno, I think lock goes to Tampa. So UCLA's quarterback, Dorian Thompson, very athletic quarterback. I think that, he was a really good fit in Chip Kelly's system there at UCLA. Max Duggan from TCU had a breakout year this year. He ended up winning the Davey O'Brien Award. He was the Heisman runner-up. But I look at both these guys at the same problem. A lot of their game is not polished. They both need some work of some sorts. But you're not looking for Joe Montana when you're drafting a backup quarterback potentially. Yeah, I'm open to the possibility of those two guys as your backup quarterback behind Geno Smith. I think that the Bill Belichick approach has worked out really well in the draft where no matter what, you draft a quarterback at some point and then they sit behind you and either they turn into an asset that you can trade for or they eventually turn into your starter. I think that's what you're looking at potentially. If you're the Seahawks, you have all those picks. I'm not opposed to a late-round quarterback selection as far as I'm concerned. But, Kyle, you make a good point. Between those two, I think I'd prefer Duggan as far as that goes. John from Australia with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my guy, John, for checking in to the live show. Says, sorry for joining late. No need to apologize at all. Did we overpay for Bellore? Nick Bellore, that is who John is referring to. And Nick Bellore, this is a guy that has been one of the few guys in the NFL that can play both positions, right? At the fullback spot and the linebacker position. And as far as I'm concerned, just with that flexibility he provides, I don't think it was an overpay. I think the Seahawks knew exactly what they were doing with the contract that he makes, quite frankly. So, John, thanks for the super chat there, but I wouldn't call it a overpay there with that one on a Nick Bellore as far as that goes. Thanks for the super chat. The next one we'll get to is a $5 super chat from Elijah. Should we trade for Ed Oliver? I remember when Ed Oliver was coming out of Houston, hometown of Jeremy Chuggs, by the way. He was supposed to be better than sliced bread, okay? I mean, he was supposed to be all that in a bag of chips coming out of Houston. And he has had a good career, but not a great career, not earth-shattering, okay? And so, for me, he would fill a need, but it all would depend on what exactly you're giving up potentially for Ed Oliver. I mean, you look back at what he had last year, 2.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble. I mean, am I giving up, a day 1 or day 2 pick for him? Probably not, but it just depends on what the trade situation is going to be for Ed Oliver, what you're going to give up. I don't think that's a bad idea. But I'm not going to break the bank to try to bring in Ed Oliver because he hasn't lived up to the potential what he was expected to be as far as that goes. The Passmaster with a $5 super chat. Thank you for sending that in. That means the DK song. Choppin', carols, choppin', Geno passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day. He rules. Can you name where that song is based off of? The Passmaster writes, just stopping by, brothers. Thank you, Passmaster. I think Wagner should bail on the Rams and come home. He deserves to retire here, in my opinion. Keep up the great work. I think we all can admit that letting go of Bobby Wagner was a mistake. Bobby Wagner is as good as any linebacker in the NFL right now. That was a decision I think the Seahawks regret to this day. But even with that said, he took that personal. He was not happy with the Seahawks organization, how that all went down in the games they played against Seattle. He was saying that he had something to prove, and I don't think that relationship is good between those two sides right now. I think one day, yeah, he'll retire a Seattle Seahawk, whether it's a one-day contract or come back to finish the very end of his career, but I don't see him coming home right now. I think there's just too much bad blood by the way things ended last year. Jerry writes in, should we sign Robert Woods? He just got released. Robert Woods, I think, would be very fascinating, potentially for the Seattle Seahawks to sign. And you look at the Seahawks and where their situation is. You have DK and Tyler Lockett as your top two receivers, but you don't have an established number 3 receiver. Robert Woods, his time in the sun as a 1 or a 2, I think, is kind of past, but I would love Robert Woods as your number 3 option. I'd take him any day over Marquise Goodwin or anybody that's on the Seahawks roster. I mean, you look at last year, 90 catches, or back in 2020, rather. He had 90 catches, 6 touchdowns. 2019 had over 1,100 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he could stay healthy and if he could be your number 3 receiver, sign me up for that. I think, though, there's going to be other teams that line up for Robert Woods, so it might not be so cheap potentially. But if that's the route you want to go, I am not opposed at all to signing Robert Woods as far as I'm concerned. Be real with me in the comment section. What is the biggest need for your Seattle Seahawks in 2023? Let us know in the comment section. Tell us what you think the biggest need is for Seattle in the comment section below. My guy Jaime checking in with a massive $25 super chat. My guy, thank you, Jaime. That means we're about halfway to the boot, about 75 away from Das Boot. Need birthday wishes from my favorite crew that covers the Seahawks like no other. Go Hawks. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jaime. Happy birthday to you.
Spam HBD.
Spam HBD in the comments
Let's
for
go.
Jaime. We love it. We love it. What's the, Jeremy, what's the other version of happy birthday that you do?
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Happy birthday from the Seahawks crew.
Hey. Happy birthday, Jaime. Hopefully the Seahawks can get you plenty of dubs this offseason. If you're watching on the live show, trust me, we'll get back to the super chat here in just a bit. But thank you for that, Jaime. K-Soon, who is not a fan of our DK song, by the way, says, dump Geno and trade for Josh Allen. Well, K-Soon, I don't think it quite works like that. We talked earlier in the week about the Seahawks bringing in Josh Allen, the one from the Jags, not the Bills quarterback. I think you would have to line up. I don't think Josh Allen is leaving Buffalo anytime soon, and he would have a number of suitors if for whatever reason they wanted to move on. So, no, that didn't happen. Sorry, K-Soon. Robert says, draft a center, a defensive tackle, a corner in the second round so you can still get a QB. Not a bad possibility, for sure. It certainly would take some areas of need. Remember, you have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. So, yeah, Robert, not opposed to that one bit, that possibility. Thank you, Robert, for that comment there. Chris says, nice last name, Chris. What do you think about signing Lavonte David? So here's what's interesting about Lavonte David, okay? He's, 33 years old? And usually when you pay for a linebacker that's that old, that's usually the type of move that gets GMs fired when you're paying an aging linebacker. But the Seahawks have a need at the linebacker position. And Lavonte David, at this point in your career, why would you not want to play for a good team, a contending team like this Seattle team is? You might be able to make that marriage work. Not a long-term deal. I think you're talking short-term, but something that I don't think you're opposed to at all. To me, I would be all in favor of a short-term type deal for Lavonte David. Not too long. You fill a need, and you see what he's still got left in the tank. Because he's coming off, even at as old as he is, still had over 120 tackles last year. And if Jordan Brooks is going to be out for a while, which we still don't know what his status is, if he's going to be gone for a minute, you need other guys to pick up the load collectively. It's not a one-man band.
PFF.
PFF seems to love Lavonte David. He had a grade, 89, which was just fantastic. One of the highest grades of any player in the league. So, Lavonte David, yeah, I like the short-term prospects. I don't like the long-term prospects of signing Lavonte David. Y for yes, in for no. Should the Seahawks do so? Let us know in the comment section below if you'd like to see him in a Seahawks uniform. Jimmer writes, do you think we should use our first-round picks for defensive players? Jimmer, that's what I would lean towards, but it all depends on the situation, how the board works out for you. If there's guys that you can't pass up on, whatever it may be, I think you have to play the situation as it may be. I think you think that going in, but it all just depends, quite frankly, as far as that goes. But, Jimmer, it's a good question. I got some shirts that we're selling. They're on sale now. The Seahawks in the old AFC throwbacks, whether it's the short sleeve or the long sleeve, we got you covered with shirts, the combo on sale now. 2 for 1 for over 25% off right now at chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. Get yours today. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks combo. Mr. Biggs 11 writes, outside of Geno in the draft, who's your number 2 option? So if let's base it on that scenario. If Geno's gone for whatever reason and you can't draft a quarterback, so at that point I'm stuck to trades or free agency. Aaron Rodgers, I guess. I mean, I don't want to have to go with Jimmy G. I don't want to have to go with Derek Carr. I guess it'd be Aaron Rodgers then. If I can't have Geno and if I can't have somebody in the draft, I mean, Lamar Jackson, I think the price tag is going to be too high. I think with Aaron being older, his price tag is going to be lower than Lamar's is. Aaron would probably be my answer if you're not going to let me have a quarterback in the draft or let me keep Geno. K-Soon writes, Tanner Muse played great at linebacker and can help coming back. I wouldn't use the word great. I think that might be a little aggressive to say great, but he played solid, considering he didn't begin the year on the active roster for the Seahawks. Remember, he was promoted from the practice squad. But Tanner Muse, I was very impressed with, all things considered. He'll be back, and we'll see what he can do. Still flying. Signed David Montgomery or Miles Sanders, both free agent running backs. If you guys know me, you know I hate the idea of giving second contracts to running backs. David Montgomery and Miles Sanders have both had solid careers, but I'd rather go draft a young running back to be my number 2 than sign an aging veteran as far as I'm concerned behind Kenneth Walker. But nothing against those two guys. That's just not the way Tyler Jones operates. Subscribe to the channel. I'll tell you how I operate all the time here, talking about your Seattle Seahawks and what they should do as they approach this offseason with daily news and rumors. Also talking trades, free agency, the draft, and more. It's all in one place. We're covering this team like no one else does here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. Doesn't cost you a single thing. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. G-Force says, should we sign Eagles guard Isaac Samalu? I got to tell you, Isaac was a very good football player. He's had a good year. The Seahawks certainly have a need with the inside lineman positions there, the guard spots in the center position. He's somebody I'd keep in mind. You also got Ben Powers as a possibility from Baltimore. Also Dalton Reisner from the Philadelphia Eagles there. So, yeah, something to think about for sure, bringing in Isaac as far as I'm concerned. We'll see. AJ says, what are we doing at center? Great question. I don't know. I sure hope Austin Blythe isn't your starting center next year. The free agent market at center is not that great. I don't see them signing or making a trade at the center spot. I would expect Seattle to be drafting a center, and maybe Austin Blythe starts the year, but you hope to turn things over potentially. Center is really up in the air. I don't have a perfect answer for you. It's kind of a wait-and-see approach at this point. You can act with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seahawks there. I'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. Thanks for joining us.